This week on Supercars Talk, I've got a fancy free hat, some fancy new lights, and wonder what big announcement is going to come out just after I've written and edited this. The big news this week is that the Blanchards have finally announced their Enduro lineups. No more questioning whether Tim Blanchard will be with Todd Hazelwood. They will be partnering up together. Apparently this was a bit of a question because Tim had actually entered himself in the wild card because they had to put down two driver names associated with that car. But Jake Kostecki will be making a much excited comeback to the field with Aaron Love in that wild card. Jake was obviously a full-time part of the series for the last couple of years. Last year he was with Tickford, but then got dumped after getting into his little scuffle with Scott Pye at the awards night. Still wonder if that was a bit of a convenient excuse for them to get in the bigger dollars that were coming from Declan Fraser, but it is what it is. The actual big news this week, though, obviously, which really was not good timing for my season predictions video, because this just was not predicted by me. Did not see this one coming at all. I need some better sources, I think. Will Brown going to Triple Eight. Erebus has released him out of his contract. I wonder how much that has cost Shane Van Gisbergen. Looks like Will is going to make the big step up across. If you told me last week that it would be Brodie Kostecki, not with Erebus next year, 100% I would have believed that happening. Fully expected Will Brown to be there. Very, very, very good pickup for Triple Eight on that one. As far as pickups go, not a bad one. Fully now expect for the rest of the year Brodie to get preferential treatment with that team, and see Will kind of fall back in the championship. But I fully expect Will to be able to take it to Brock Feeney next year, and he's got a very, very good chance to win a lot of championships there. As for the future with Erebus, I expect they have a plan in place, or they probably wouldn't have let Will go already. Names I've heard mentioned, of course, Stanaway, Kai Allen and Cam Waters are the ones that spring to mind. If I was Cam Waters, that would be a very tempting move to make, I would think. It's a very, very strong position that Erebus are in at the moment, and that would definitely be a step up for him. You're going into a team. There doesn't seem to be a lot of politics there at Erebus as what you might get with some of the other teams. I think Brodie would be pretty easy to work with. Obviously, Brodie's a very competitive driver, but I think he'd be pretty easy to work with. Maybe Barry Ryan at times would be a bit difficult, the Erebus team seems a bit family-ish a bit, I guess, and sometimes you have arguments within families. I won't be covering off the NASCAR race at Indianapolis that Brodie and Shane are taking part in this weekend, because I'm recording this before the race has taken part. But qualifying, Shane, once again, very impressive. 8th on the grid, he'll be starting. Brodie was set to start from 11th, but due to damage on that car, he had a little bit of an off during qualifying. He was supposed to be 11th on the grid, but he will start at the back because they're going into a spare chassis. For all the people with Gen 3, I don't know the full specifics on it, but I would have thought that after seeing the impact, I would have thought that they would have been fine to continue, slap on a few panels and keep that car going. But it looks like Brodie hasn't had a great introduction to the category. He's had a couple of mechanical problems in practice and hasn't got in many laps, making that 11th qualifying position all that more impressive. But definitely, maybe insert here, it was really good to see Shane Van Gisbergen win another NASCAR race. We'll see how that goes down in the future. Ford has pulled its funding from the safety car and medical car programs. What does this mean for the category? Is this foreshadowing a full pullout from Ford at the conclusion of the year? Will the Mustangs not quite be Mustangs next year? I don't think it's as big as that. It's probably, you know, just a marketing thing. We have seen these change many times over the years. The contract is probably up. Maybe Ford's using it as a bit of a bargaining chip with the series to try and get the Mustang a bit more competitive. But yeah, time will tell on this one. And the other thing to cover off before my Bend preview is that part of the Bend, Shane Van Gisbergen will be using the wildcard chassis once again. They, after backing the 3 chassis at the ride day after Sydney, they decided that there is some issues with the original 97 and they won't be racing that at the Bend. Obviously, they need to try and get that car up to speed because they need 3 cars for the Enduros that are coming up very, very quickly. Although where Shane was in the championship, probably not too bad a car there for Craig and Zane. But I do... Peter Addison's made a big deal. How is this a news story? Blah, 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 or whatever. Yeah, he's a funny follow on the old Insta books. Good old Pete. But I see this as a big story because the biggest team in the field is now openly admitting that one of their cars is at least different to the other 2. And, you know, then you've got teams like BJR and Tickford who have built 4 cars each. Is this a problem just with Triple Eight? Why then is that a problem with Triple Eight? And if it's not just them, who else is affected throughout the field there? Could this be why Nick Percat is not as quick as Chaz Mostert? Could this be why Jack Smith is not as fast as Andre Heimgartner? But yeah, that's probably the bigger question for me. If the best team in the field can't quite get this right, are there other teams with these similar problems, but maybe they don't have the same kind of feel or experience or ability to drive the other cars as what Shane has, so they haven't been able to pick it up? Maybe they just think that that's how Gen 3 is, and yeah, I'm struggling, but yeah, that's my bigger question, and that's why I think this is a story, and that's probably what we should be focusing more on rather than just, hey, Shane's going to be in a different chassis for the next race. So the Bend will be this weekend. Once again, no track running on Friday for the Supercars, although they will have to be there because there's lots of support category running on the Friday. Saturday will consist of 2 30-minute practice sessions, the 3-part qualifying, and then 1 20-lap race, which doesn't sound like much, but it's probably about 3 hours and 40 minutes because the track is so long there at the Bend. Sunday we'll see the typical 2 15-minute qualifying sessions followed by 2 20-lap races. Last year, Shane Van Gisbergen took all 3 wins. Davison, Mostert and Waters were the second place getters over the 3 races, and then third places were shared between Mostert, Courtney and Brody Kostecki. This year I fully expect Shane to clean sweep again, with then the rest of the podium to be fought out between the remaining Triple Eight driver and the 2 Erebus guys. But I'm going to predict a bit of a dark horse. Is it fair to call these 2 dark horses anymore? But Jack LeBrock, he didn't go and do the test day. He shook down the car for Cam Hill though, so he did a few laps at the Bend. I think it was last week they went down there, and yeah, Cam Hill got to do one of his rookie test days, so I expect Cam to be move a little bit forward in the field over this weekend, but see Jack right in the fight because they've got a bit more experience at the track than some of the other teams. And Andre Heimgartner, who took the Kelly Racing's last win there a couple of years ago, he seems to go pretty good at this track, and BJR have definitely been moving forward. I expect them to be spoilers and get themselves onto the podium over the weekend too. That's my preview for the Bend this weekend. Down in the comments, who do you predict is going to do well over the weekend? Love to hear your thoughts, and yeah, until next time, I'm still Dave, and I'll catch you later.